What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 401 of the Hoots Podcast, live in living color here on this Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. I'm recording this on a Thursday afternoon. Hope each and every single one of you are doing well. Hope you all are in good spirits. It is yours truly, the nefarious brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez. You can follow me on X if you'd like at the Hoots Podcast, Instagram at Josh Lopez Music. Please do us a favor if this is your first time watching or listening to the Hoots Podcast. Come say hello. And please do us a favor. Please smash the like button and subscribe button. We just passed over 500 subscribers on YouTube recently, which is pretty cool. Now we're on the road to 1,000. Would it be cool to get one of those cool like play button plaques here in the break free room here? I think that'd be pretty cool. So hit the subscribe button. If you're checking out the audio version of the podcast, please make sure to follow us on Spotify specifically. And I appreciate the support that you guys continue to show us each and every single week here on the Hoots Podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to say before we get into this week's content and all the other plugs, I just want to say really quickly, I want to express my gratitude to each and every single one of you who took time to reach out to me, send us congratulations. Everybody who took a chance to check out episode 400 last week. It was a very special episode, and I'm very grateful. This has been a very humbling week, to say the least, when in regards to this podcast. And the fact that we were able to get past that benchmark is really cool. And I want to thank Pat and Tony for hopping on with me last week to, to shoot the shit about what's going on in the industry and kind of reflect on what this podcast has been for the last 8 years. And here we are, man. The grind doesn't stop. So right now we're beginning our final 2-year journey here of this podcast. So here we go. 100 more of these to go. And thank you all for still riding with us. Really means a lot. So thank you. On this week's podcast, I'll be making my preview and predictions for the Elimination Chamber PLE, which is taking place in Perth, Australia, early Saturday morning. I'll be covering the show live from WrestlingHeadlines.com. That's where you can find all my play-by-play articles. I cover Raw, SmackDAHN, and NXT every week, and the added PLEs. So you can check out my work at WrestlingHeadlines.com. And that's pretty much it. I mean, besides plugs, I'd love to get any suggestions. If there's any other different types of content that you would like to see on our channel, I'm open to suggestions. Also, if you want to recommend me any particular people that you like to see make a guest appearance on the Hoots Podcast, I'm open to doing some more bonus content during this next wave of the show. So we got 2 more years. I got a lot of different ideas of contemplating like how we could continue and further expand this podcast, but for the most part, man, I'm just very grateful again for all of you who still care. It's pretty cool. So, like I said, on this week's podcast, I'll make my predictions for the Elimination Chamber and see where things go with that in this week in WWE. Got to talk about what we saw last night on Dynamite for AEW. They're about a week and a half away from their pay-per-view, Revolution. This month is flying by fast. It really is. So we'll get to that. And then what else I want to express really quick? Of course, we got a new CLAHN of the week. And we got the Back Porch Q&A session, which we'll be doing as our main event segment. I do want to say really quick, for those who are watching live on Facebook or Twitter, anywhere that's checking this out, especially on YouTube, don't be afraid to come say hello. Like the video, share the show with your friends. Ask me a question throughout the show, and I'll give you a shout out as the show goes on. But all that being said, I've been the grind is real, man, and I'm having good weeks. This whole transformation journey has been interesting to say the least. I have my good days and bad days and stuff like that, and it's not all rainbows and butterflies all the time. But I can say, in my heart, I have a lot of clarity now, and I think what I'm really proud of the fact is that I got the clarity that I needed in a lot of different situations, and more importantly, I know my worth now, and I'm not backing away from that, um, I'm owning like who I am, and I'm not apologizing for it anymore. Nor should I. And I want to express this to anybody that's watching and listening. This could pertain to any situation, but um, you know, never feel like I don't want people to feel like they ever could put themselves into like a box or put themselves in a situation where they feel like a second option, regardless if it's a professional situation or a personal situation. Never feel like you are a second option or a backup plan to somebody, because if that person can't see what you bring to the table in the first place, they don't deserve you. And that's professional, personal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, man. Know your value. You have a lot of value. I know I have my value. I own who I am. It is what it is. Um, but I just want to say, for those who are wondering, if you ever want to know how I'm feeling and stuff like that, I'm good. I'm happy. Um, I got my priorities straight. I'm focusing on me. You know, the rest will figure itself out. You know, uh, really try to remind myself every day to not uh, bog myself down over things I don't have control over, because it's just wasted energy, and it's just time that I don't want to waste. That's another thing, man. You got to acknowledge and value the time that you're spending on yourself and the people you're interacting with. If people are going to take you for granted, and put you in the box and stuff like that, they don't deserve your time and energy. If any advice I could give to anybody out there that's watching and listening is, be reciprocal with the energy that people give you. If people are going to be standoffish and push you away, or whatever the situation is, return that favor to them. it is what it is. But spirit's good. Another good week of meal preps. I killed it this week. I had steak and salmon this week with rice. Fantastic. It was very, very, very good. And it was. I can't complain, man. I didn't think this time last year I'd be cooking my own meals for an entire week, but I got such a routine I've been doing on for the last 7 to 8 months now that it's just my life now. I make my breakfast on the side, but besides that, most of my dinners are already there in my containers, and then just trying to make sure I'm consistent with everything, and get some extra money on the side. And it's a lot of juggle. Sometimes I have to check myself just to make sure that I'm not overextending myself. I know like this week is going to be very difficult for me, because I think difficult from a sleep standpoint. I have a pay-per-view I got to cover at 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. That's probably going to run to like, I don't know, 8 my time in Chicago. Um, we'll see how that goes on Saturday. I got SmackDAHN to do tomorrow night. It's just a lot of stuff to juggle, but I'm making the best out of it. So, really, it's not much to complain about. Very happy, very grateful for the success that we're having with the show. And again, for those who are watching and listening, please either subscribe to our podcast here on YouTube or follow us on Spotify. It will really help us out a lot, because the show's not on a Patreon account. We don't have a Discord. I'd love to grow our community here and have more conversations with you guys. But just in general, man, thank you all for the support. It means a lot. So, all that being said, before we get to this week in WWE, there is a topic that's been circling around wrestling Twitter over the last couple of days, and you guys know me. I wouldn't be who I am on air if I didn't bring this up. And man, Tony Khan just can't read a room, man. One thing I don't appreciate within people are hypocrites and people who talk out of both sides of their ass, basically. That's just stuff that I don't have a lot of respect for. Like, you ever hear people say like, "Hey, I'm a straight shooter. I keep it 100, and I appreciate people who are honest and stuff like that, and they're straight shooters, and they don't play games or whatever." How can you have? How can you say you're a straight shooter but you have no self awareness? And I look straight in the mirror of Tony Khan. Man, let's talk about what everybody's been talking about the last couple of days. These comments from O'Shea Jackson Jr., who's the son of Ice Cube, another talented actor who was on Straight Outta Compton. Really enjoyed that movie. He had some comments this week about his feelings on AEW and why it's not appealing to him, right? And of course, it's got all the AEW tribalists in their feelings, and Tony Khan was making sarcastic jokes towards O'Shea Jackson yesterday before Dynamite with his lame attempts with comedy, using Larry David just because that's the best he's got as far as insults are concerned these days. Let's take a look at these comments. But as I was saying, man, I don't have respect for people who talk out of both sides of their ass. I just don't. Don't tell me you're a straight shooter, but you don't have any self awareness at the same time. I just don't have respect for that stuff. So let's read this. So this interview, by the way, was conducted on Chris Van Vliet's Insight podcast. Very, very, very good podcast. And shout out to Chris Van Vliet. I'm a big fan of his work, and I really enjoy what he does. And Chris is a good dude. I actually interviewed Chris a long, long time ago when I was doing my old PWE show. And Chris was a cool dude, man. And I'd love to have him back on the podcast sometime soon. But let's read some of these comments from this interview. I don't mean to, but like the issue I have is, okay, for people who don't watch anything besides the two, whether you are younger or older, stuck in your ways. If I'm watching someone on AEW and I'm like, who is this guy? I don't need you to tell me I'm not a real wrestling fan to tell me how can you not know such and such. Who gives a damn? Like, I need you to inform me, bro, or at least have some programming in a way to let people know why you should love this dude, why you should fuck with this guy. That's something that I feel like this is something that I feel like is missing. Conan, when I was on his podcast, he brought up when you watch USC and they give you a little backstory about this dude's backstory about the fighter. What's this guy has gone through, what he's done, and vice versa. And then they put him in a room and they cuss each other out. And then by watching those videos, you get to choose the side of who you're with. What they have is this niche group of people who watch all these wrestling shows and they're already in the know. So when they see these names together, it is a dream match for them. But you're trying to sell this to American television, baby. You got to move that up a little bit. You got to give me some cinema to follow, something to hold onto besides the announcing running down a list for me while there's dudes walking down the ramp. And I feel like that's missing it when you are trying to get involved and trying to give something a chance. When you question it even a little bit and you get 80 no-face accounts coming at you at any given time, like, fuck this noise, bro. I'm going to cool off. I'm gonna go cool off it, and if y'all like it, I don't. And that was the root of the comment there from O'Shea Jackson. Shout out to my boy Andrew Bay Dollar. What's going on, my man? Miss you, my man. This has been a very polarizing topic, and I have to say this, and it's not me trying to look down on any of my colleagues, but for those who are trying to do transcription work and trying to get making these, like, how I say this, trying to get a news story out of an interview, if you're going to do the transcript, can you at least actually write it out properly and what they're saying? I was trying to sift through a lot of the O'Shea Jackson comments this week because this has been what everybody's been talking about the last couple of days on Twitter, right? And I'm like, who wrote this? You got mistake here, you got mistake here. And this is another thing too. I think people make mistake when they're doing transcripts from interviews. type out everything that's said. Everything. If you're not having the context of the conversation and you're trying to make a news piece out of it, you're doing a disservice to the industry, you're doing a disservice to the performers, and it's getting into these areas where you're getting people out of context, and then you have the drove of sissy fans on Twitter going after a guy because they are just reading what's ever posted on so and so's website, and you're not doing the homework and you're not doing the transcription properly. I know we want to get the juicy highlights and have a headline here, headline there, but if you're going to do a transcript from an interview and make it a news piece and you think it's newsworthy enough, do the homework, type out the entire thing, and make sure you are writing it properly too. I'm not asking for much, but context is very important because this became a whole thing on Tuesday and Wednesday, right? And I watched the interview. Chris did a great job doing the interview, and it was a very good conversation. And you guys know me. He's not saying anything that I haven't already said on this show over the last couple of years. Even I, the guy that spent so many years covering New Japan and doing G1 tours and the Best of the Super Juniors and all these different ancillary shows for New Japan Pro Wrestling and TNA and the NWA and et cetera, et cetera. Even I, at times, will see people pop up on Dynamite Collision, and I'm like, who in the blue hell is this guy? Even for me. And in the crux of it, like, you're not a real wrestling fan if you don't know the backstory of so and so's rise to fame through New Japan or said company here. And I just think that's stupid, to be honest with you. I've covered a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling over the years. That doesn't make me better or my wrestling analysis skills better than you, you know? Like, oh, I can't believe you don't know the history of Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. I know the history, but I'm not going to blur it out there on a podcast just to make myself look cool. If anything, that makes me look like I don't have any time. Like, I know it's overused saying, but a lot of you do need to touch grass sometimes. Like, seriously. Like, I pride myself to the fact that there's times where I was spending almost 60, 70 hours a week on the business and covering 12 different shows at a certain amount of time. But it was my job. I wasn't doing it on my free time. Like, since when I was doing my furlough situation, I lost those articles and stuff like that with like MLW and TNA and NWA. I haven't gone back to watch those shows. Not because I don't want to support other wrestling besides WWE or AEW. I don't have the time. I'm not getting paid for it if I were to cover those shows. And the incentive is not there for me to watch it. I'm not going to pay another $10 a month to find a streaming service for Impact. I'm not, going to pay $30 every other 2 weeks to see what's up with New Japan, and their pay-per-views and stuff like that. I MLW changes their network every 3 months or so. Like, I'm when you have these conversations and you try to go back and forth with people, I think real life gets thrown out of the window sometimes because we are such in a bubble as a wrestling community about, okay, your value of your opinions are only at this amount of level if you are of the tier of, okay, I spend my entire week listening to podcasts, reading websites, knowing every match that's happening at an indie show this weekend, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, guys, we're doing ourselves a disservice, honestly, because like, just because you watch GCW or Rev Pro, the show that they had on Sunday that everybody was marking out for, great, that's awesome. But what does that have to do with somebody that has a family or has a busy work schedule and only gets the opportunity to watch an episode of Dynamite or SmackDown or whatever show it is on television, and they got Joe Schmo from from Nagata, Japan, and there's no context. Here's a random guy. Oh my God. Hey, I haven't seen Bryan Danielson wrestle in a while. I haven't seen Daniel Bryan on my TV screen. Oh, guess what? He's having a match on Saturday against Jun Akiyama. Now, I know who that guy is, but does Joe Schmo, the casual fan, know or give two shits who Jun Akiyama is and the fact that he's one of Eddie Kingston's biggest idols? One of the wrestlers that Eddie Kingston looks up to the most? No. Just because I know that info doesn't make me better or smarter than you as a wrestling fan. And then you got all these nimrods and asshats, tweeting Ice Cube saying that, oh, you made a mistake pulling out and conceiving this guy. All because, God forbid, somebody with some clout and somebody who's actually worked in the entertainment business is critical of AEW. And Drew, I want to give shout out to my guy Drew. Him and JD talked about it on their show this week on TNT, and I couldn't agree with them more. I probably watch the same amount of wrestling as JD does, and even for us and as content creators, we are kind of lost in the shuffle of who's who, what's the history between both guys. Why should I care? Like, that's the thing that I've always been critical about when it comes to AEW. It's like, okay, we are the AP students and everybody's beneath us, right? Oh man, I'm in AP geometry or AP science and history, and like they're the elitists, right? That's what basically AEW is in a nutshell. This is for the higher level wrestling fans that watch everything, know everything about the business, etc., think they could be bookers. And then if you don't watch that wrestling, you're not a good wrestling fan. You don't know what you're talking about. Go fuck yourself, honestly. If that's your approach to the industry, if I don't know the backstory of somebody from Dragon Gate or MLW or etc., I don't know what I'm talking about. Go stack marbles on the freeway, as my guy Drew would say. It's not that serious. And then you are sending death threats and tagging Ice Cube in stupid ass tweets. And Tony Khan, his best way to handle criticism is sending out a fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm gif. Great. What's that solving? If anything, you're proving his point. And I get it, Tony. I'll give you credit. You have capitalized on the smarmiest of wrestling fans. The lowest common denominator within the industry of our fan base is these smart marks, dirt sheet lovers, etc., who live and die with the industry every single day. And you've capitalized on it. And good for you. But your audience is not growing. Your promotion's not growing. It's just there. It's stagnant. It's a dirt sheet vanity project. And I'm sorry that the truth hurts. It's a dirt sheet vanity project. And it's a shame that MJF is injured and he had a great run as a champion. And Samoa Joe's doing some good work and Swerve Strickland's on the rise and stuff like that. But you watch the rest of that show, and especially Collision, it's a dirt sheet vanity project. That's all it is. And again, just to have that argument of, oh, you're not a good enough wrestling fan if you don't know the backstory of so-and-so coming into your promotion to have a random match on Dynamite and Collision. Great. Bryan Danielson fought Yuji Nagata a couple weeks ago. Who gave a shit? The Royal Rumble is on. And then you have my guy, Tomohiro Ishii, a guy that I love from New Japan. He fights Orange Cassidy last weekend. And he loses to the guy. just a cold match because hey, Rocky Romero, best friends. They are loosely associated with Ishii's Chaos faction in New Japan. I'm one of the few people that know that. But again, does that make me better than anybody? And does that talking point even matter in the big picture? I don't know, man. Fair criticism is fair criticism. It is what it is. Sorry that O'Shea Jackson Jr. got in your feelings. You know, I just think it's one of the silliest arguments I've seen this week in wrestling. But it doesn't change. It doesn't seem to surprise me because it's X. It's X. Every day it's something new, or a conspiracy theory and a dumb booking take, and then it's a never ending cycle that I choose to not engage with as much these days. I come in here, I record the show, I speak for me, and I leave it at that. It is what it is. So, anyways, that's what I have to say about that. So, that's the first beginning part of the podcast here. When we come back, we'll get into what happened this week in WWE and give you my little preview in Perth, Australia for the Elimination Chamber as you're checking out episode 401 of the Hoots Podcast right here, right now. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, and make sure to follow us on Spotify. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. Yeet. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 401 of the Hoots Podcast. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. By the way, I hope you guys do like the background. I kind of set this up myself when I moved into my new apartment here, and I think it's cool. I do need to get a new microphone. The old board that I had for a while it's kind of fugazi, so I need to get like some new stuff, but I like the feel and the look of the show so far. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Anyways, let's talk about what happened this week in WWE. Just want to say again, we got a lot of crazy things going on in this world of WrestleMania. We had 1998 The Rock pop up on SmackDown this past Friday. Then you go to Raw this past Monday in Anaheim, California. All hell is breaking loose. Bloodline invasion. Solo recreates WrestleMania 39 with Cody doing the spike during that match with him and Drew McIntyre. Jimmy Uso later on the show costs Jey Uso the Intercontinental Championship, just like Jimmy cost Jay the tag team titles earlier this fall. And that's a little nice callback there because I think that was also the main event of that Raw too when that happened as well. So Jimmy Uso adding his Jimmy Uso is this year's Dominic Mysterio. He's just going for all the heat known to man, and he's gonna get his comeuppance in Philadelphia, and I'm here for it. So we got qualifiers. Kevin Owens defeated the aforementioned Dominic Mysterio. Pretty solid match to kick off the show on SmackDown. We had other qualifiers. Tiffany Stratton defeated Selena Vega thanks to outside interference with the Legado del Fantasma. You had Naomi defeat Alpha Fire. By the way, I want to send my regards out to Shotzi Blackheart, who suffered a torn ACL in her NXT Women's Championship match this week with Lyra Valkyria. Very unfortunate injury. It bummed me out to see that. You don't like seeing performers get injured like that. And obviously, Shotzi's not on the higher tier level of the female roster. But to see injury like that for any wrestler, it just sucks to see. So my thoughts and prayers go out to her, and hope she has a speedy recovery. There's more more storyline progression. You got a lot of the women on Raw trying to state their case as to why they should be the next person to dethrone Rhea Ripley. And, kind of in a lot of ways, Rhea Ripley is kind of like the Roman Reigns of the women's division. Like you see on Raw, I think there's like 6 or 7 women that are like, "Oh, I want a shot at Rhea. I want a shot at Rhea." They got history with Rhea. Rhea got Liv injured, got Raquel injured, cost them both the women's tag team titles. Becky Lynch wants to test herself against Rhea Ripley. The list goes on and on and on, and stars are stars, and that's how it should be. When you have a big marquee performer like that, and you have like 10 or 12 different performers on the roster gunning for you, you're doing a good job as a champion. And then you get to these silly arguments, oh, but they don't defend the title enough. Well, again, this is not AEW where you have an AEW International Championship match every other week. It gets old after a while. Another reason why I don't take Pocket seriously, because he has title offenses against guys that I already know that he's going to defeat. So it kind of defeats the purpose. Oh, right. Pockets wins another match, wins another match, wins another match. Yeah, we get it. He's one of Tony Khan's favorite. Wins another match. So again, that's one of those silly arguments out there. Oh, Roman doesn't defend the title enough. Oh, Rhea doesn't defend the title enough. There are attractions. When they have their title matches, it matters, and people will give a shit. Now, regardless of how you feel about Nia Jax, people inside off the stadium on Saturday morning or Saturday evening in Australia time, they're going to be on their hands. They're going to be on the edge of their seat for that match with Rhea Ripley. Obviously, it's in her home country. It's a big moment for her, and she's a star. And maybe we should call this pay-per-view, this PLE, the Rhea Ripley Invitational. I mean, you got her defending the title on the show. You have a elimination chamber match to determine her opponent at WrestleMania, and her boys on the same show are defending the tag team titles on the PLE. So it's kind of similar to like that Rock pay-per-view, the Rock Bottom. Was it 98? It was one of the first pay-per-views I remember as a kid watching wrestling, was the Rock Bottom pay-per-view, and it was all dedicated to The Rock. They had this big cutout picture of The Rock on the stage. It's coming through the crowd at some bar going into the arena, and everything was The Rock. It's kind of got like a similar vibe here with Rhea Ripley, and good for her because she's a big time star. Let's talk a little bit about this Rock promo that we saw on Friday night, because this also sparked some controversy. Some people liked this, some people didn't. I'll tell you, for myself, I was highly sports entertained during that segment. Brought back some fun memories as a kid. He's like, "Hey, congratulations, Utah! You broke an all-time indoor attendance record." And then a couple seconds later, he's like, "Yeah, you broke the record for the largest gathering that trailer park trash the Rock has ever seen." And then the line about, you can tell this in your 50 wives and your 600 inbred grandchildren. That one popped me a lot. I really enjoyed that one. And then the other line that popped me too was like, you had the biggest WrestleMania main event in the history of WrestleMania right in the palm of your hands, and you let it go. You flushed it down the toilet, the same toilet you sat your fat ass on. Started to, "We want Cody! We want Cody! He's got to finish the story! He's got to finish the story!" that for me, that was my personal favorite line that The Rock dropped on SmackDown this past Friday, because it's the truth. Everybody went on a freaking sissy fest like it was 2014 with Daniel Bryan again, because, oh my God, Cody Rhodes gave away his Royal Rumble spot to The Rock. If he fought Seth Rollins for a world championship, how's that giving up your Royal Rumble spot? That's neither here nor there. Let me take a swig of water really quick. All right. It's true. People were sitting on their asses and tweeting nonstop. We want Cody. We want Cody. We want Cody. Dave LaGreca having an aneurysm on Sirius XM radio. Oh, we want Cody. We want Cody. All right, you're gonna get Cody. And what's the reaction when he loses to the tribal chief? Oh, me, we're gonna stop watching WWE. We're gonna go to AEW. We're gonna go to AEW. Sure, keep telling yourself that. The same people like, oh, I only watched WWE during WrestleMania season. Okay, but you're telling me the issues of a storyline going into a SummerSlam and et cetera, et cetera. Oh man, the world of wrestling Twitter, man, is it's something that I don't wish on my worst enemy. Let's just say that. So going back to this rap promo, I kind of got the gist of what he was trying to say with the sports analogy that he's going. I think he should have just said, instead of the sports analogy, he should have just said more about life. You can't just, you know, sit out there and feel like you're entitled to a rematch just because you lost on the biggest stage. He was factually incorrect when it came to the stuff with the Utah Jazz going all the way back to the top. They did not win a NBA final. They didn't win a Larry O'Brien trophy with Karl Malone and John Stockton, which is unfortunate. They were a great team. Great team to look back at in the late 90s and stuff like that. Yes, the 49ers lost the Super Bowl. So, yeah, there's some incorrect aspects to the promo from The Rock. But again, he's playing the bad guy, and more times than not, a heel will have their facts within their own head. That doesn't mean it's always going to make sense or it's 100% fully accurate at times, too, you know? It's kind of the yin and the yang of being a bad guy, where you're kind of delusional and you're just getting on a roll and you're just spewing out a bunch of shit, right? And, sometimes promos are like that. And I thought, Rock hit the points he needed to hit. And, saying, Cody, I'm going to make sure that with everything in my power, you will not go and leave Philadelphia with the WWE Championship. You will not be a champion. You will be a loser. And again, we got another series. Oh my God, The Rock put an L instead of the one, and The Rock was pointing at Roman when he said that he's calling Cody a loser. And for the detectives and the Sherlock Holmes out there of the wrestling universe, watch the television and see where it goes from there. We can dig and try to find context clues here and there, but you're also going to be people say that it's too predictable once you start noticing where things are going to go. Enjoy the ride, man, as The Rock said in that promo. Enjoy the ride. I know we need to have it for conversation, but I don't think anybody, not me, not anybody who's watching this, not anybody that does shows like this, can tell you with a straight face what the finish of WrestleMania 40 is going to look like in just about a month and a half from now. We don't know. You know? You want to let me know? Can you tell me here on February 22nd what the finish is going to look like at night 2 of WrestleMania 40? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. All in all, I thought the promos affected and need to hit the points that need to hit. Yes, I think the sports analogies were a bit of a stretch, but I am kind of curious to see what the follow-up is with SmackDown tomorrow night because, like I mentioned, there was a double taping of SmackDown last week. And The Rock kind of put a hint out on Twitter and on Instagram about, him saying that he won't be in Australia. Roman Reigns is having Paul Heyman make Grayson Waller do a Grayson Waller effect on the Elimination Chamber. He's going to have Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on as a guest, or as The Rock said, Cody Rhodes and his little girlfriend, Seth Rollins. I'm kind of curious to see the context clues that we're going to see with whatever was filmed last week. Because, usually when Roman's there for these double tapings, they always do some backstage bloodline segments. So maybe we have a conversation with Roman and Rock by themselves. Maybe there's a moment where they agree to disagree about the situation. Um, we don't know really where Roman's head's at with everything. Does he even want to uh, maybe he's just playing along with The Rock and, just accepting his involvement for now. And then maybe as the weeks go by, he's going to be like, why are you trying to step over me? What are you doing? Why are you talking over me? Why are you trying to dominate the segments? Why are you stealing my camera shot? Et cetera. And Roman Reigns is a petty person. That'll be something that would offend him because he is the tribal chief. Hey, why are you trying to get in the way of my spot, bro? What are you doing here? Do you know your role? You like to tell everybody know your role. Sure about. Do you know your role? And then that's where the tension is. There's so many different ways you could go about it and different avenues you could go. But having The Rock decide to make this change and for him to go back to being a heel, you could tell on his face that Dwayne Johnson was having the time of his life, because more times than not when we see him doing these interviews and press junkets, he's like the everyday man. Everybody loves The Rock, but you could tell on his face that he was having the time of his life talking shit to people and talking smack to the crowd. And that's kind of fun stuff to see, even for a guy that's like a legend like that, to still have like that giddiness. Like, I bet you he was waiting all week just to run down the city of Salt Lake City, Utah, man. And I thought it was fantastic. We had a lot of good matches on Raw this past Monday. I mentioned the Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre one. Drew McIntyre, in a lot of ways, for me personally, has been the MVP during this road to WrestleMania. He's been killing it so far. He's in the Elimination Chamber match coming up on Saturday. We'll kind of see if it's obvious that he'll fight Seth Rollins for the title in Philly. But, we had that going on. Gunther and Jey Uso, the IC title match was fantastic. Even with the Jimmy interference, I thought it set it up what it needed to set up. No, Jey Uso will not be on SmackDown tomorrow night. I hate to break the spoiler for y'all, but he will not be there. But it's kind of similar. One thing I do appreciate about Triple H is he'll put moments where an action will happen, and you get the vibe like, okay, this beatdown went down on this performer, and you get the vibe like, oh shit, it's on site now. That saying, that expression, it's on site. That's kind of what it is now in a lot of ways. You got Jimmy now costing Jey Uso not only the tag team titles, but the IC title. Now it's on site. It's kind of similar to what they're doing last year with Edge and the Judgment Day. Okay, you're going to give a concerto to my wife right in front of me in Philadelphia, by the way. It's on site. So, yeah, Jimmy Uso has a receipt coming his way. He has a VIP. He's already had his plans booked. He has a reservation in the Gulags, and we'll see how that plays out. But that is what's off the top of my head so far from Raw and SmackDown this week. Just some stuff here and there. But let me make my predictions really quick for the Elimination Chamber. Let me know in the comment section down below on YouTube, or hit me up during the weekend. Let me know, like, what matches are you looking forward to with the Elimination Chamber, and what's your predictions for the show. So just hit me up on here on YouTube or on Twitter, and I'd love to see you guys' feedback. Excuse me. All right, here we go. I got the card here. I should remember this off the top of my head, but don't forget, we only have 4 matches announced already, but we had the Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes situation with Grace Waller. That's the segment that's going to happen. I do believe Paul Heyman will be there. Maybe we get something via satellite from The Rock. I can see that. That's a guess that I had off the top of my head. I don't think Roman Reigns will be there, but something's going to give where either we have this tag team match or maybe The Rock inserts himself within the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania. Maybe The Rock is like the special enforcer for that match. Like, I do believe something will happen where we get more clues of what's The Rock's involvement going to be into WrestleMania, but it's still up in the air. It really is. I mean, and also, I mean, good for Grayson Waller for the fact that he's like going to be a part of this segment too. You know, is he a hot character right now? Is he on the rise? I think he has a bright future ahead of him, but to still even for him to be a part of this storyline and having this talking segment on the PLE before WrestleMania, that's a good thing for him. He'll maximize his TV time. He'll do his shtick and poke fun at Cody Rhodes, still trying to finish his story and all that stuff. And we'll see where that goes from there. But all in all, I'm excited for that segment, and that should be a fun one to type out. Let's look at the matches here for the Elimination Chamber. I'll start off here with the tag title matches. The Judgment Day against the New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. This should be a fantastic match, but I do believe the Judgment Day will retain over Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, formerly known as British Strong Style. It should be a fantastic match. Let's talk about the Women's Chamber match. Bianca Belair, the man Becky Lynch, everybody's favorite waterfall, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez won a last chance Battle Royal on Raw this past Monday night, and she definitely deserves to be in this match. It's all vying for the opportunity to fight Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40 for the WWE Women's World Championship. And this should be a fantastic match. I think the fields for both men's and women's chamber matches are really good. You're going to have some nice sequences. You have interactions that we haven't seen before. Seeing Tiffany Stratton within this structure should be pretty interesting. Naomi, she's in there now, coming off her run in Impact Wrestling. Liv Morgan is she's a loose cannon, if you will. And then of course you got the big time players like Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. So this match should be a lot of fun. I'm kind of curious to see who eliminates Bianca Belair though. Maybe it is Tiffany Stratton. Who knows? Maybe it is her. But we'll have to see. I'm going with Becky Lynch to win. I believe this match will kick off the show, and I think Becky Lynch will win the Elimination Chamber match. I don't think we've had a scenario in the Chamber where the match ended in a draw or a double pin. I don't think that happened. And I don't think they need to do a triple threat match with Becky, Liv, and Rhea. I know Liv wants to be a part of that match, and she does deserve an opportunity to go after Rhea Ripley in the title and get her revenge that way. But I just don't see it happening now. So I'm taking the safe bet here. I'm gonna go with Becky Lynch to win this Women's Elimination Chamber match, but it should be really good. Speaking of Rhea Ripley, I have her retaining over Nia Jax. It's going to be a physical match. This is a big opportunity for Nia to prove some of her doubters wrong. I think for the most part, she's been putting out some better matches since her return to the company. And I think for the most part, she's been doing some good stuff for her career right now. But Rhea Ripley is such a star right now. I just don't see her losing the championship. So I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley to retain there. And then for the guys, the men's Elimination Chamber match. We have the winner of this match taking on Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. We have Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, L.A. Knight. Yeah. Kevin Owens, and United States Champion Logan Paul. Oh, I can't believe you put the United States Champion inside the Elimination Chamber. You should be defending the title on the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Austin Theory in the Elimination Chamber match last year and was the United States Champion? What a silly argument. Ugh. No, the match was. Hold on, let me look this up. What wasn't that chamber match last year for the United States Championship? Let me look at this. Give me 1 second. Yeah, the match was for the United States Championship. Even then, still, it's not the end of the world that Logan Paul is in the Elimination Chamber match. You want to set up your program there with him and LA Knight? You want to kick that off? Why not? What if LA Knight eliminates Logan Paul? What if Logan Paul eliminates LA Knight? We'll see where that goes. You knowing me, I would love to see Kevin Owens win this match. I think it'd be a cool moment for him to get a world title match at this year's WrestleMania. But who knows? Maybe. How about this? What if Randy Orton eliminates Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens just snaps and turns on Randy Orton, and there's a WrestleMania match there. You got Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Why not? These two never had a feud with each other. I don't think it's a bad idea. So you could do that. Bobby Lashley's out there. We'll see how that goes. I just think right now I think the right pick, even though it is predictable, I do think the right pick is to go with Drew McIntyre here. I do believe that. So I'm gonna go with Drew to win the men's elimination chamber match. But those are my predictions for the chamber. Don't forget, you can check out my work and live coverage of the elimination chamber coming up this Saturday on WrestlingHeadlines.com, and I appreciate the support from each and every single one of you. I do appreciate the support. It's been a lot of fun. So with that being said, it's time to have some fun, shall we? With a segment that's for the faint of heart. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, strap it down, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a new restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's start this bad boy off in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Your meat, beat 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 your meat.
I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living in my time is now. My time is right goddamn now.
Man, what intensity.
The quality of the product and the quality of the shows is at an all-time high right now. But I do know that it's a real war between AEW and WWE.
I'm still cashing fat checks, and I am still banging the hottest bitch in this entire place.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
What do you think?
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about what happened in the world of All Elite Wrestling. By the way, if you guys don't know, Jun Akiyama is a legend and a inspiration for Eddie Kingston. You, my friend, are not a real wrestling fan. I hope you know that. What a stupid ass comment that was, man. My God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what I have in store for you guys this week with What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. I'll tell you what, man, these past couple weeks have been better to sit through without having to deal with Chris Jericho's nonsense. So I will say that's a plus. That's a little bit of a positive there. I will say that there was a lot of good and strong promos that I saw on television this week, and I want to give credit where credit's due Usually this part of the segment where I put over the stuff that I did like, and we'll talk about stuff here and there that I just wasn't crazy about. For example, the first clip here we're gonna play here is the promo from what we saw yesterday with Sting and Darby Allin. Y'all know that we're on the road to Revolution. It's gonna be Sting's last match. They're having a tornado tag match against the Bucks, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson for the World Tag Team titles. Let's hear what Darby and Sting had to say on Dynamite last night, and it's brought to you by AEW on TBS. So let's play this clip for you guys, and I'll play this for you right now. Here we go.
When you're close to the end and you look back at life, it really puts everything into perspective. The fame, the spotlight, the material objects that we chase that think define us, but in reality don't mean a single thing. We've been looking at some old photos today. Sting, is it cool if I show the Young Bucks some of these photos?
Yeah.
I got some for you. Oh, right here. Bucks, I want you to look at this. Right here. This is a photo of Sting and his sons, Garrett and Steven. You remember them, right? Of course you do. When this photo was taken, they were about the same age as your kids currently are right now. This is this man's flesh and blood. This is the only thing that matters in life in the end, is family.
Nail on the head, Darby. Family is all that matters. Strikes a nerve right now, too, because in all the years I've been a pro wrestler, no one's ever messed with my own flesh and blood until you, Bucks. Lots going on in my own personal life in the last couple of weeks. The Bucks, and only 7 days ago or so, another family member of mine, my father, passed away. He was like a hero to me. He taught me right. Makes me think a lot about my own mortality. I used to think I was so invincible, you know. Sometimes I do feel that way still. But time catches up with everyone, and it caught me for sure. I know that truly I am not invincible. But one thing that I do know, everything that I have left in me, I'm bringing to Revolution. And it's going to meet you face to face, you Bucks. You have a fight on your hands. The fight of your life.
Phenomenal. That's one of the best pieces of work that they've done in AEW. One of the best promos that I've heard in that promotion. You felt the emotion. There's reality there. Obviously, my thoughts and prayers go out to Steve Borden and his family and stuff like that. I can't even imagine that situation, you know. You felt that. And I know this segment's always usually more rooted in comedy, and you point out stuff that Wrestling Twitter wouldn't point out. But, you know, to see that and see the emotion come out of his face, and you could tell how serious it was to him, that's very strong. It's very powerful to see that. And Sting's having his final match. Obviously, it's going to be a sentimental moment for him. But now you you saw the attack that the Bucks gave to him a couple weeks ago. Then, we had that odd promo with Darby where he's putting over Cody Rhodes, where we're kind of missing the point with the angle. And then you get a rebound here in a big way with Sting's promo last night, and I thought it was fantastic. So props to Darby and Sting for rebounding, and we had the little interaction back there with Ric Flair and the Bucks. Ric Flair is kind of disappointed that he's not more involved with the situation at hand with the Bucks and Sting, and he thought he'd be doing more with this stuff and his run AEW, but I think that'll play a part into the match. Maybe Ric Flair will turn his back on Sting during the match, and then he maybe puts him in the Scorpion Deathlock. It's gonna be a crazy, overbooked, just mayhem fest with that match, and I think it'll be entertaining. As much as I'm not a fan of the Bucks and how they lay out matches and they make the referees look stupid every time they have a match, regardless if they're good guys or bad guys, I'm going to try my best to just watch it and appreciate seeing Sting have his final match. This is not the opponents that I would have for him for his final match, but that promo last night sold me on the match, so I give credit where credit's due. The FTR match with the Blackpool Cuckold Club, I thought very good, very physical. Match ending in a time limit draw. They'll be having a rematch coming up at Revolution. I believe that was announced this week on television, or it should be a rematch. But for the most part, man, again, it was a very good match. These two are a good tag team. They meshed well with their styles, and I thought that was a good match. Then we have Wardlow, another person that got put over here. He just goes scorch earth on everybody. He's talking about him beating up CM Punk. He beat up MJF, but MJF got all the flowers and the success after him squashing him at Double or Nothing a few years ago. And then he's like, I'm sick of playing second fiddle to everybody, and whoever gets in his way is going to suffer the wrath of Wardlow. And he's like, look at him. Like, he's everything you would want in a world champion and stuff like that. He's not saying anything that I disagree with. I've always been a fan of Wardlow. If anybody can use a prime example of misused performers in All Elite Wrestling, Wardlow would probably be the first person that I would throw up there. And good for him to talk his talk, Sometimes you got to do that sometimes. And good for him to speak from his heart and, let that fire out of him. So good on him. I got to give credit where credit's due with that. But then we got to other stuff on the show. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sold on this Deonna Purrazzo Toni Storm match. I'm not into the story. I know the match between the two will be good. I enjoy both of them as performers, but I'm not intrigued for the story of the match. That match is just more of a match to see what they do inside the ring, and I don't think Deonna's going to win the title off the bat. So it's kind of a foregone conclusion that Toni Storm is going to win, which is what I don't like. Most times when it comes to the match parents with AEW, it's like, oh my God, we have a free agent. Let's throw him in a title match in the next pay-per-view. Like, oh my God, it's Mercedes Moné. She's going to fight Toni Storm in the main event of Double or Nothing. When you rush matches that you should wait and put some time and thought into it, you are doing yourself a disservice to your promotion and the wrestlers because you're leaving more money on the table by rushing it instead of letting it cool down and play out. Case in point, we had 2 matches already with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, a feud that a lot of people wanted to see, and Tony kind of so thirsty to drop his load all the time when it comes to his booking. We had to rush into 2 matches. One with interference with Nick Wayne's mom. The other one was the pay-per-view where we had a cash in of the Battle Royal gimmick. And now they give him the concerto last week. This week now, Christian Cage is now going to be fighting Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. Good for Daniel Garcia. I mean, I've kind of changed my tune on him as a performer. I like his work. I'm not a fan of the dancing stuff, but I think he's been doing a lot better work recently. And that'll be a fine match. You know, Christian goes to the route of talking about Daniel Garcia's dead father, just Heat City Jones. That was a tough one to sit through to listen to that. But I think it'll be a good match. But again, I can't get invested with this Christian and Edge stuff because you already did 2 matches, and it's not. I don't think either of the matches had satisfying outcomes, and I'm not clamoring for a third or a fourth one. And when it gets to the point where they become and reunite as a tag team, yeah, that initial pop is going to be cool and all, but what's been thrown into this feud has just not been clicking for me personally. And I kind of feel bad for Adam Copeland. It's like, okay, you're in AEW. Okay, let's have you fight Christian for an entire year, and then you guys will be a tag team. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, what else stood out to me? Oh, yeah. Pockets had a 20-minute match with Mike Bennett on television, and I couldn't give 2 shits. And it's not a knock towards Mike Bennett because I'm a big fan of his work and I enjoy his matches, and I'm a big fan of the person and human being he is, and in the way he tries to give out some life advice to people. But I'm not an Orange Cassidy fan. I'm just not. I'm hoping and praying that Roderick Strong beats him for the International Championship at Revolution, because I am so sick and tired of Pockets, man. I really am. It's just a waste of time. Anyways, the main event was a trios match pitting Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and Brian Cage against the team of Hook, RVD, and Hangman Page. Physical match. Hook got some nice spots in between the match. I kind of figured that was going to be the case, but RVD is the man that took the pinfall in this match. Actually, he didn't take the pinfall. I think he passed out. I got that wrong. Yes, RVD was the victim in this match. We got a little preview of what's going to happen with that triple threat match. Who knows what to believe for what when it comes to this Hangman Page injury. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested in the triple threat. I just don't think it's time to rush the title onto Swerve Strickland. That's what I want to say. You know, that's I don't see that happening. But we'll see where that goes. All right, let's go to the Excrement impression. By the way, Will Ospreay is making his debut on AEW next week. Good for him, man. It's a shame that he's stuck in this Don Callis vortex, but that is neither here or there. So let's go into the Excrement impression, and we'll wrap this segment up with a bang. All right, here we go. Coming to you live tomorrow night on TNT. It's another stellar edition of AEW Rampage. Here are your matches. First, we have the Bucks of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson in action. Next, we'll hear from Sammy Guevara. From there, we have women's action as Mariah May takes on Anna Jay. For there, a match that was made official this Wednesday night on Dynamite. It's Roderick Strong and the Undisputed Kingdom taking on Jake Hager. And our main event, it's a trio three-way match pitting Private Party and Matt Sydal against the team of Pentagon Jr., Commander, and Brian Keith, and Top Flight and Action Andretti. Then coming up on Sunday, March 3rd, it's AEW Revolution Live from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. Here are your matches. First, it's a Meat Madness match pitting Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, and an opponent to be named later. And from there, for the TNT Championship, it's Christian Cage taking on Daniel Garcia. And there we have a grudge match with Don Callis family members as Will Ospreay takes out Kenosuke Takeshita from the AEW Continental Crown Championship. It's Eddie Kingston against Bryan Danielson. If Bryan Danielson loses, he must shake Eddie Kingston's hand. From there, for the AEW Women's World Championship, it's Timeless Toni Storm taking on Deonna Purrazzo. From there, for the match for the AEW International Championship, it's Orange Cassidy against Roderick Strong. It's a triple threat match for the AEW World Championship. It's Samoa Joe taking on Heyman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. And the main event is Sting's retirement match, a tornado tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, as it's Sting and Darby Allin taking on the EVPs, the Young Bucks. More matches to be announced. Make sure to follow Tony Khan on Twitter at Tony Khan. Make sure to get all your AEW tickets right now at AWTIX.com. Repeat, that's AWTIX.com. And by the way, congratulations for signing Jennifer Pepperman on your creative team. Woohoo! Who gives a shit? And on that note, we post a question each and every single week here on the Hoots Podcast. Folks, what the hell's wrong with AEW?
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me, I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Alright, what the hell's wrong with AEW in the books? See a little more positive this week. All you do is hate AEW, Joshie. It's not that deep. All right. We have one more segment to do before we get to our main event segment, and it's a segment that we like to do here on the podcast each and every single week. It's a segment that was made by the good brother Sam Piopo. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Second City Sam. A segment that we like to affectionately call the CLAHN of the Week.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
One more time for good measure.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, time to talk about and give an award to the CLAHN of the Week. And this one is something that I did not want to talk about because it's a terrible situation and I hate going into these rabbit holes. But Cara Pippa, wherever her last name is, the lady that was speaking out as Ashley Mazzaro's best friend in this ongoing situation with Vince McMahon and the WWE. If you know the situation, Ashley Mazzaro, you know what it is. I'm not going to come here and reveal horrible details and stuff like that. This whole situation breaks my heart because she unfortunately ended her life via suicide a few years ago. She has a young daughter who had to come out this week on social media and say that she doesn't respect the fact that she's trying to speak on behalf of her mother when she's not here, and those two were not close as friends. So, Miss Cara, whoever your last name is, trying to seek attention and try to think you're doing something right without having the consent of the daughter and not putting in her feelings into consideration, you are the CLAHN of the week. That's not cool, man. It's not. I know you're trying to speak out for your friend, and there's going to be a lot of these people come out of the woodworks to talk about this because, you know, it's time for Vince McMahon to get his comeuppance, you know, and, you know, a lot of bad karma is heading back his way. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You know, if you've done stupid shit, it's going to come and bite you in the ass. It just is. But as I say that, you know, especially this whole situation with Ashley Mazzaro just breaks my heart because I was a big fan of hers. And to see her end her life that way is just horrible. And honestly, what happened in Afghanistan is just repulsing, to be honest with you. And to have her daughter express her pain and frustration with the whole situation and not letting her have a chance to still grieve with the loss of her mother. It just makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach. So, yeah, that's the clown of the week this week. I had no other choice than that one. But on that note, we got one assignment to do this week on the podcast. A fun part of the show where we get to answer your questions on the podcast, and it's called the Back Porch Q&A session. We'll be right back right here on episode 401 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. All right, folks, one more segment to do here on the podcast this week. It's time to answer your questions for this week's Back Porch Q&A session. As always, if you want to participate, hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast, and I'll answer your questions from there. And I can answer some live questions as well for those who choose to watch us live here. So appreciate the support in general. All right, we go to the good brother Chris Saletta at XTeenZaletta24X on Twitter. Let's throw up the X out there for Chris. Let's take a look at these questions here. Chris here has, just one second, I got it right here. Thoughts on the Good Brothers? He says, "What up, Boost? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Thoughts on the Good Brothers showing up in NXT?" I think it's cool, man. They haven't been doing anything for a while, so I think one they were dealing with an injury or something like that recently, but good for them. They're gonna have some fun stuff to do there, and I think that the Good Brothers are good additions, if you will, to the NXT brand. So I don't have an issue with that, to be honest with you. Who will be the first entry in the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame class? I am going with Ken Shamrock. That's my guess. It's an out there guess, but I think the whole TKO thing with UFC and WWE, I think Ken Shamrock gets added to the Hall of Fame. Will Nick Nemeth win the IWGP Global Championship? No. I think Dave Finlay will retain. They'll have a rivalry. I don't think he'll win it this weekend, but maybe down the road, Chris, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Do you trust The Rock if you're Roman? No, of course not. No, he's trying to step over my power and my authority, and I'm the tribal chief. He's not the tribal chief, you know. No, I would not trust The Rock in this situation. Your thoughts on the pairing of Vic Joseph and Byron Saxton lately on NXT? I think it's cool. I think they've been putting out some good work. You know, Booker T's been dealing with some health issues, so I hope he's doing better, and hopefully get to see him back soon. But Byron Saxton is such a five-tool player in that company. He does ring announcing, commentating, backstage interviews, hosting press conferences, and stuff like that. I have all the respect in the world for Byron Saxton. There's so many people that shit on the guy unjustly, and I don't think that's cool. That guy's been a consummate professional, and he kills it in every role that he has. So you know why Byron Saxton's been in the WWE as long as he's been, because he busts his ass and he works his ass off. Camille dropped a short clip yesterday that she has made a decision. Where do we think? You know what, Chris? My best guess is probably going to be AEW. I haven't seen anything with regards to her in WWE. I try my best to stay out of the loop when it comes to that dirt sheet stuff, so I really don't know what the actual discourse is regarding Camille. But I think it's either AEW or Impact. That's my best guess on that end. Thoughts on Lash Legend's performance this past Tuesday? Major player. You know, Lash Legend gets the award this week for maximizing TV time this week. I thought she did a fantastic job, you know, having to deal with that situation with Shotzi's injury, and then for her to slip into that in the main event slot when she just had a match like 10 minutes earlier. that's not easy, man. And especially for a performer with her lack of experience, that's not easy. So to make the best out of a bad situation, that's going to do wonders for Lash Legend down the road for sure. Jasmine Nix on the waterfall ranking. Yes, she's not in the top 10 or anything like that, but she's in the consideration. That's a good question. All right. Thoughts on the Briggs Jensen match? I loved it. It was a fantastic match. Very physical, different style. A fight feel, if you will, and I thought both guys killed it. I thought the right guy won. Here to see what happens next with Brooks Jensen, but I thought those two beat the shit out of each other on Tuesday, and that was a wrestling match there. So, I'm a big fan of Josh Briggs in general. He's fantastic, but him and Jensen had a very, very good match. If you're putting together a WWE pay-per-view theme playlist from 2001 to now, what would be on that list? Gosh, man. You asked me a question with 23 years of different songs, man. I don't have that all tapped into my head. I know I have a photographic memory and stuff like that, but damn, it's hard. I'd probably throw in Painless from one of those NXT TakeOver ones. The Fozzy song, Painless. I love that song. Rated in the Stars from WrestleMania, the B.O.B. song. Options, Pitbull. Gosh, man. Aloe Black, the man. No, my bad. Not the man. Ticking Bomb. Ticking Bomb is the song from Aloe Black. It's a song from Payback in 2014. I remember that because I was at that show. So that's definitely one for sure. Let's see. Gosh, man. Memory Remains, of course, for Metallica to honor that Triple H and Undertaker Hell in a Cell match from WrestleMania 28. That's definitely on there for sure. There's so many to choose from, man. It's really hard to just pinpoint one, but those are ones that I would do on the playlist for sure. And the final question this week: what path will lead Sami Zayn to Mania, the IC title or the World Heavyweight Championship? Here's the scenario I'm throwing out there, and it hasn't been discussed yet. What if there's a scenario where Karrion Kross brutally attacks Bobby Lashley, and Sami Zayn finds a way in a loophole to go into that match and win the Elimination Chamber? What if you go about it that way? Because if he's not in the chamber, I do believe that Sami Zayn will fight Gunther for the IC title at WrestleMania. That's just my best guess. But if you want to do a pathway for him to go for the world title, I would have him be the replacement guy for Bobby Lashley in the Elimination Chamber match. But that's just me. On that note, I want to thank you all for the questions this week. Thank you, Chris. As always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at xteensaletta24x on the Twitter. And thank you for the questions as always. On that note, we're going to put a ribbon on the bow for this week's episode of the Hoots Podcast. I want to thank you all for your support as always. You can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Hit me up at Instagram at Josh Lopez Music. If you want to advertise and sponsor with the Hoots Podcast, hit me up at thehootspodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget, folks, like this video and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. Press the bell notification so you never miss notifications when new episodes and content is uploaded to the channel. Also, if you can, do me this favor, please, if you are a person that just checks us out on the audio version of the podcast, I don't blame you. You don't want to look at this mug. If you want to do us a favor, please follow us on Spotify. That would help us out a lot. And that help expand and reach the show. So please, to find the Hoots Podcast, is free of charge. Just follow us there on Spotify and tell your friends about it. And don't forget to check out my work at WrestlingHeadlines.com. I will be covering the Elimination Chamber live on Saturday morning. So make sure to do that favor for me. So I do appreciate the support on that end. And by the way, let me know in the comment section down below on YouTube, what's your predictions for the show? And what are you expecting for this Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins? I'd love to see you guys comments with that. Just hit me up on social media this week, and we can talk about it a little bit more. But on that note, I want to say, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the Elimination Chamber. As always, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. This has been episode 401 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be here to recap the Elimination Chamber and everything in between next week, right here on the Hoots Podcast.